Let's face it, recessions can be scary. They can cause a lot of uncertainty and anxiety, especially when it comes to your finances. Recessions are an unfortunate reality that we must face from time to time, and they can bring out challenging financial times for individuals and families. If you are not prepared for an economic downturn, you could be risking everything. Luckily, with the right mindset and strategies, you can weather the storm and come out on top. And if you develop these strategies as a habit, then it will protect you and get you ready ahead of time. First, let's understand what is a recession and why it occurs. Recessions are defined as 2 consecutive quarters of negative economic growth. It is like a really bad cold for the economy. Just like when you get sick and can't go out and play, during a recession the economy gets sick and can't grow like it normally does. So why does this happen? Well, it's kind of like a domino effect. It usually starts with people spending less money on things like clothes, food, and entertainment. This means that stores and restaurants don't make as much money, and they may have to lay off workers or even close down. When people start losing their jobs, they have less money to spend, which means that other businesses start to feel the pinch too. This can cause a chain reaction that spreads throughout the entire economy. There are a lot of things that can cause a recession, like a sudden increase in the cost of goods, such as a spike in oil prices, financial panics, or a decrease in the amount of money people are willing to spend. But the important thing to remember is that just like a cold, a recession can be temporary. The economy might need some time to rest and recover, but eventually, things will start to get better again. If you are well positioned during these tough times, then you can build incredible wealth by catching the opportunities that come with them. And with the current global economic situation, it is important for everyone to know how to protect themselves and their finances. That's why in this video, we'll be sharing practical steps on how to survive an economic recession and protect your finances. With that said, let's get started. Welcome to Smart Investing, where we talk all things about personal finance and investing. 1. Build an emergency fund. The first and most important step is to build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a money that you set aside for unexpected expenses or emergencies. These could include things like a job loss, a medical emergency, or a car repair. Having an emergency fund gives you a safety net during tough times. It can help you cover your expenses and avoid going into debt. It can also give you peace of mind, knowing that you have a buffer to fall back on. But how much money should you have in your emergency fund? The general rule of thumb is to have enough money to cover your expenses for at least 6 months. This means you should add up your monthly expenses, including things like rent, utilities, groceries, and transportation. Then multiply that amount by 6 to determine your target emergency fund amount. Now, building an emergency fund takes time and discipline. It's not something you can do overnight. You need to make it a priority and commit to setting aside money each month. Start small and work your way up. Even setting aside $50 or $100 a month can make a big difference over time. There are also different strategies you can use to build your emergency fund. You could automate your savings by setting up a direct deposit into a separate savings account. Or you could cut back on unnecessary expenses and redirect that money into your emergency fund. Ultimately, building an emergency fund is a key strategy for surviving an economic recession. It can help you weather tough times. So if you don't already have an emergency fund, start building one today. It's never too late to start preparing for the unexpected. 2. Cut expenses. Cutting expenses is an essential strategy for surviving an economic recession. When times are tough, it's important for you to take a hard look at your spending and find ways to reduce your expenses. This can help you stretch your budget further and make your money last longer. But how can you cut expenses? You can start cutting costs by delaying a major purchase or getting into bargain shopping. Here are some tips to help you get started. Create a budget. The first step in cutting expenses is to create a budget. This means tracking your income and expenses and identifying areas where you can cut back. You can use a budgeting app or a spreadsheet to help you stay organized. Identify your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are things like rent, utilities, and insurance that you have to pay each month. While you may not be able to reduce these expenses, you can still look for ways to lower them. For example, you could try negotiating with your service providers to see if you can get a lower rate. Cut back on discretionary spending. Discretionary spending is money you spend on non-essential items like eating out, entertainment, or shopping. These expenses can add up quickly, so it's important to find ways to cut back. You could try cooking at home more often, finding free or low-cost activities to do, or only buying items you truly need. Look for ways to save on essentials. Even when it comes to essential items like groceries or transportation, there are still ways to save money. You could try buying generic brands, shopping at discount stores, or carpooling with friends or coworkers. Find ways to increase your income. If you're still struggling to make ends meet, you could try finding ways to increase your income. This could mean taking on a side job, selling items you no longer need, or starting a small business. By following these steps, you can take control of your finances and make the tough times easier for you. 3. Diversify your income. One of the riskiest things that you can do during a recession is to rely on one source of income if your job isn't in a recession-proof industry. This is your opportunity to try to apply for a side hustle or to look into diversifying your income so that you have a few sources to rely on. It's important to have a backup plan to protect your finances. One way to do this is by having multiple sources of income. This means that instead of relying on a single job, you have other ways to earn money that can help you stay afloat. Starting a side hustle or freelance work is a great way to do this. These are jobs that you can do in your spare time, outside of your regular job. For example, you could offer services like tutoring, graphic design, and web development, or selling products online. By doing so, you can earn extra money and diversify your income streams. Having multiple sources of income can provide a safety net during tough times. If unfortunately, you were to lose your job or your hours were reduced, you would still have other sources of income to rely on. This can help you pay your bills and cover other expenses until you're able to find a new job or get back on your feet. In addition, having a side hustle or freelance work can also provide a sense of fulfillment and purpose. It's a chance to explore your passions and develop new skills. Plus, it can be a way to connect with others and build your network. 4. Pay off debt. During an economic recession, it's important to be mindful of your debt. If you have high-interest debt like credit cards or personal loans, it can become a significant burden on your finances. This is because you'll need to make regular payments on your debt, which can eat into your budget and make it difficult to cover other expenses. That's why it's a good idea to focus on paying off high-interest debt during a recession. By doing so, you can free up money that can be used for other expenses, such as groceries, rent, or utilities. This can help you stay afloat during tough times and reduce your financial stress. For example, let's say you have a credit card balance of $5,000 with an interest rate of 20%. If you only make the minimum payment each month, it could take you years to pay off the balance and you'll end up paying thousands of dollars in interest. But if you focus on paying off this debt as quickly as possible, you can save money on interest and free up more money in your budget. Paying off high-interest debt during a recession can help ease your financial burden and give you more flexibility in your budget. So, if you have debt, make it a priority to pay it off as quickly as possible to help protect your finances during tough economic times. 5. Invest wisely. During a recession, the stock market and other investments can be unpredictable and risky. That's why it's important to invest wisely by looking for low-risk investments that have a good track record. While many investors are going to liquidate to have cash, you should think twice before selling off your investments and book your losses. It's also a good time to add strong companies to your portfolio because you can easily find many companies trading much lower than their true value. Like if you see a chart of any big company like Tech Mahindra or Microsoft during COVID in 2020, you will find it trading much lower. If you have invested in it at that time, then you could easily double your money within a year or two after things started to get back to normal. One type of investment that can be a good choice during a recession is bonds. Bonds are a type of loan that you make to a company or government, and they typically offer a fixed rate of return. This means that you know exactly how much money you'll earn from your investment, which can provide a sense of security during tough economic times. Another low-risk investment option is gold. Gold is a precious metal that has been valued for centuries, and it tends to hold its value well during economic downturns. Investing in gold can be a good way to diversify your portfolio and protect your finances. Real estate is also a good investment option during a recession, particularly if you're able to buy property at a discounted price. Real estate tends to appreciate in value over time, which means that your investment can grow and provide a source of income if you choose to rent out the property. 6. Stay positive. During a recession, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and helpless. But it's important to stay positive and remember that recessions are temporary. The economy will eventually recover and things will get better. To stay positive during a recession, focus on the things you can control. This includes your spending habits, your debt repayment, and your investments. By taking action to protect your finances and make smart decisions, you can feel empowered and in control. It's also important to remember that tough times can bring opportunities. For example, during a recession, you may be able to find good deals on investments or start a new business at a lower cost. By keeping an open mind and staying positive, you can find ways to make the most of the situation. It's also important to surround yourself with positive people and resources. This can include friends and family who support you, online communities that provide inspiration and encouragement, and educational resources that help you learn and grow. In conclusion, surviving an economic recession requires a combination of financial planning, discipline, and optimism. That's it for today. We hope that you found this video informative and helpful. Please leave a like to let us know. Comment down what you want to add to the list to help survive a recession. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great content. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.